Ladies and gentlemen, I got to be honest with you. These guys have been hard at work cooking with Duet Night Abyss. I want to give a huge shout out to their marketing team for sponsoring this video and enabling me to bring it to your awareness. There's been a lot of changes, and I do my best to go over the most important ones that were notable to me. But just know there's an upcoming closed beta launching on June 12th. Whether you got in or didn't, it's worth checking out the changes that they've made. They've had a complete overhaul in terms of the character visualizations. The characters look better. The world looks better. The new areas have been completely revamped. They revamped like a number of things, the UI system included. There's new characters to play with. There's also a new storyline for you to experience for the story enjoyers. There's a lot of things. I'm not gonna lie to you. The beginner Gacha banner has now been changed from a 50 pity down to a 40 pity. At least they give you a 20% discount to where you're able to get that more effectively, easier. And then you can select your standard character of choice now, whereas before it was fixed. So there's a lot to talk about. Overall, they've been cooking in the lab, TLDR. Let's go ahead and lock in and get into some of these changes. One of the first things I want to talk about immediately that's been a huge change, and I think it's underappreciated a lot in video games, it's the UI revamp. The UI has been completely revamped in this game. The polish to it feels absolutely immaculate. When you click on something, there's not like a clunkiness transfer. And you know what's funny? I've been keeping up with this game for over a year ago. We've been working together on this low key. And so I'm able to tell you guys about the changes. I have literal videos on my channel. You can go back and watch them. This one right here, in fact, if I just go ahead and panel out, you'll see this was over 1 whole year ago. And so, yeah, I've been like, working with these guys for quite a while. And so if there's anybody who's able to see these changes, it's going to be me. I'm using the same character today, right? I want to make sure she looks at you. Take a good look at her. And now look at her today. The visual enhancements, there's no denying it. They've been hard at work in terms of making these characters look more poppy, more visually stunning, and it's been nice to see. But one big one that I think is underappreciated is they've highlighted the abilities of the characters that the characters specialize in. This is once again another thing that did not exist in the previous games. About 3 months ago, I did another sponsor for this game, and this wasn't here. And you know what was funny about this? When I was playing the game, I was like, what do I build on them? Right? There wasn't a sense of a linear build path. And so it kind of left me confused. I was like, I don't really know what the hell. There's no sense of direction on how to build these characters. I didn't realize the value of what highlighting characters' specialized abilities are until this moment 3 months ago. And now that they've added it in, it's so much more like, it's so much more identity to the character. It's so much more clarity to what you're trying to do and what your goals are with each individual character. This is such a small change, but such a monumental change for me. And for an example, I am gonna be putting like demon wedges on these characters, right? Which I'm in the very early stages of the game. I haven't even unlocked the high quality gear or nothing. But when you're clicking on these, they're gonna say things like increase skill damage, skill range, skill duration, skill efficiency, or they're gonna have abilities that pertain to these elements. But if you didn't know what this character specializes in, guess what? You're not gonna know what to build. Like if you put skill duration on this girl and she doesn't have a skill duration kit, well, you just wasted that build. And so once again, massive shout out to them for making that UI a bit more refined. And so we have a better time building our characters. Now, another thing I saw was the skill tree has been completely revamped entirely. In fact, I have evidence on this. So this is what it looks like now. Very crisp. This is what it looked like over like a year ago. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't too drastic of a change 3 months back as well. But that's what it looked like. Dude, the graphics is one of the first things I noticed. Like it looks completely different graphic wise here. But this is what the UI is with the skill tree. And now this is what it is. And look how slick it is, right? We click on this, boom, and you're able to see the visuals of the moves that you're doing. So you don't have to go and try them out. They'll show it to you right here. You can click on each one. It'll show you how each move looks. That is like the most, dude, the UI guy needs a raise. There's no other way to put it. He needs a raise. This is gonna be the intron or your copies of your characters tree. And there's cosmetics if you want them. I really love their cosmetic design because they enable you to get quite like thorough with how you wanna cook up these characters, man. You can even put a little birdie on them and stuff. But it doesn't stop there. You've got eye things you can do. I mean, if you want it to like put a blindfold on them, I think that's super sick for the Nier Automata players. If you want to put like a little pouch on them or something. And then finally over here, you can put, I can't wait till we unlock these on her because the wings look sick. Or you can just like rock the default. But these are like little elements of Duet Night Abyss that I don't see in a lot of other gacha games, if any at all, actually, to my knowledge. And so they're cool things that I wanted to point out. Also, now up here up top, you got your melee weapons, right? Because of course you have the character, then you have the weapon that the character's using, you have the range weapon that the character's using, and then you have some characters have a consonance weapon, which means they probably have an ultimate form where they pull out a exclusive weapon to them. And then there's your Genimon, which are the little guys that you can use to aid you in battle, unlock active and passive skills to help you out further. And I think some of them even, like there's a pig that I believe transforms into a mount. And here's your tactical backpack. I'm just quickly going over all this so you guys can get a bit of sense of familiarity with what has changed with the UI system. Now, Demon Wedges, just like last time, the interchangeable Demon Wedge system is one of the best QOLs in Duet Night Abyss. And what I mean by that is, you know how in most gacha games, you get a good sick item and you put it on a character, and then you go over to another character, you have to take that item off of that character and then put it on them, right? It's not interchangeable. It can only be attached to one character at a time. In Duet Night Abyss, you can literally take this exact same item, put it on a second character, and they'll both be sharing that item simultaneously and reaping the values of it. The only thing is, and this is actually kind of important, melee weapons have a separate Demon Wedge system, right? So if your melee weapon has crit damage plus 10%, this can't be equipped onto the character, right? Because it's a separate wedge system. So I want to make sure we're like crystal clear on that. Characters have a build, but then your weapons have a build too. That's important to establish. Now, weapon on weapon, interchangeable. Like you can get a sick piece, put it on all 4 weapons, but you can't get a sick piece on a weapon and then take that piece of a Demon Wedge and put it on the character build. Those are 2 separate entities that are important to establish. Also, I just want to mention this one more time for people who didn't know. You can craft 5-star weapons in this game, and I believe limited weapons are also craftable as well, which is crazy because that essentially means you can get the limited available weapon for that limited banner character without actually having to pull on their banner if you manage your resources effectively. Now, the next like monumental change is going to be they've revamped the world building entirely in terms of the areas of the maps that you're visiting. Look at the bottom left, you'll see before, and then you'll see after, which is insane. That looks so much more majestic, detailed, and vibrant. Honestly, quite stunning and breathtaking. And then this part here, you got the before, not so much area, after, much more broad. You know what I mean? Seems much more adventurous. And then this one right here, you see the before, and then you see the after. It looks objectively better in terms of a graphic enhancement and a world building perspective. Okay, let me go ahead and helix jump over here. I want to talk to you guys about the difference in the audio, the SFX, and the impact of the moves. I quite literally sent this to them myself. So I'm somebody who definitely was happy about this. I sent them, they're like, Smack, we want your feedback on our playing our game 3 months ago, and let us know the criticisms you have. And one of the things I said was the moves don't feel impactful at all, and the audio is also a bit lacking. Well, I can tell you today, they've improved on that. And I'm just not gonna talk here, and I'll just let you guys hear them visually as well.
Surrender. May you rest in peace.
And so what I like about it is they've clearly not only improved the visual effects of these moves, but also the sound of them. And it's not like the sound has to be insanely overbearing. I just want to feel or hear the power of a slash that looks that cool. And I want to hear the impact of some of those weighty moves. This one here, they've improved visually because they didn't have all that effect back in the day. And if it did, it didn't look as cool. The other thing is the slash, I can now audibly hear it, whereas before you couldn't audibly hear it. These things make a big difference when you're in the midst of combat, pulling off the moves so that you can really enjoy them. And this last one, so you can hear it, bam. And that's all I wanted, man. I just wanted some more impact. And so they've done a tremendous job there as well. Now, unfortunately, I don't have all the characters unlocked. I would have liked to have shown you guys a more broader roster of how all these characters audible sound. But based off of how hard they've been working, I can only assume at face value, they've put in the same amount of effort for all the other playable characters. Now, due to me being extremely busy, I wasn't able to grind to this level of the game to where I'm able to unlock the cool stuff. But this is what I'm talking about. This is the ability of the range weapons that you'll eventually be able to unlock. These look incredible, man. Look at that homing missile on the bow. It looks very fun that you can play from a distance and still pump out tons of damage. This one blew my mind away. It is a chainsaw ranged shooting weapon. Like chakram blades are firing out, bro. This is some like Diablo ARPG / Doom Gears of War type stuff, bro. I was deeply impressed with that scene there, man. Like this is because it gets me excited. In case the devs are listening to this, just so the devs are listening to this, it gets me excited because it lets me know, wow, you guys are willing to get creative and show off weapons we aren't used to seeing that have abilities that are so much more different than what I'm used to playing. And that is absolutely worthy of praise. Okay, so this one here is a massive beginner banner buff. It's a galactic beginner banner buff. First of all, now you're able to select the standard character of your choice, which is so amazing. I cannot tell you how many gacha games I've played where you got to re-roll over and over and over only to not still get the character and waste hours of time. So now we can select the one of your preference. If you want Sybil, you can get her. Take a quick look at her. Gorgeous.
It seems hatred hasn't completely clouded your judgment.
Oh man, dude, the VAs sound really good too, by the way. I'm gonna turn this up just a little bit because I want you guys to get a bit tuned in on the VAs. We can go to this guy.
You have set the stage anew for me.
Very nice. I will say I do just a little bit of feedback. I want them to give us an option to turn off this constant like panoramic slide. I don't know what to call it, but yeah, you get to choose your standard selector character of your choice, massive, and they reduced the pity from 50 traces down to 40 traces. Now you might still see 50 here, but you know how gacha games give you a 20% discount on 10 pulls. That's how that functions, right? So you go ahead, you choose, I don't know, we'll choose him. I played with Sybil last time, so I'll choose this guy. And then now it only costs 8 instead of 10. So although it says 50 retraces, you're gonna be able to do 50 by getting the 20% discount. Does that make perfect sense? So it's really just 40 times you do your thing and it's GG's. Now, this next topic was a monumental change that they have made to the combat of Duet Night Abyss. One of the biggest complaints they had in the previous beta is what people were going through the modes where you like develop your account, where whether you're going through a domain where you're trying to get character experience, weapon experience, experience for the Genimon, you name it. It kind of felt like that there wasn't a lot of action in this hybrid action thrill of the hunt kind of game. And so they ramped up the volume and the density of the enemies spawning in. And so it's much more action packed. There's much more intensity in the combat experience, which you'll see in the B-roll that I'm sure I'll be rolling as I'm talking right now. But yeah, that's a positive thing for these kind of games. And it's very imperative for these kind of games to be enjoyable. You honestly want to always feel like you're beating up a horde of enemies in this game with all those flamboyant and flashy moves you're pulling off. It's important to have that in here. So it's nice. And you guys will be able to experience it during the beta as well. And whatever feedback you may have after experiencing, do be sure to leave it, you know, on the threads and the forums, whatever I'm sure they'll be sending out emails to ask for your feedback. Do leave that because it's very important for them to continue to deliver a product you'll be satisfied with. I wanted to show off this scene so you guys can get a good visual representation of story consumption, what the transitions of the scenery and the characters looks like. Also, making choices will affect your character's morality, his chaos, wisdom, empathy, and benefit. It reminds me of like Fable, which is a really cool system because it's carefully integrated inside of their dailies and side quests and things you're going to be doing. It does affect the story. It's pretty cool. But yeah, look at this quality right here. It's really nice. And I believe this is in-game graphics, which is interesting. Massive improvement, looks gorgeous. You will notice a subtlety in what that scene looked like versus what this looks like. But I am impressed that that's an in-game graphic representation, not a full-blown like render of a cutscene. So it's cool. It's a nice, pretty seamless transition. Now, this next one is nuclear for me because these are the type of cosmetics that most gacha companies are just going to charge you money for. And what they're doing here in Duet Night Abyss is they're allowing you to change the colorization of your outfits that your characters already are wearing to different color palettes, which I believe looks insane. It looks incredible. Look at this, man. Visually stunning, makes a difference, keeps the game fresh, keeps your characters fresh. And it's something that I wish you saw in more gacha games. But you know what? That's one positive that Duet Night Abyss can say they have over many others. I wanted to show you guys a more hands-on approach. If we come over here and click on her skin and go to coloring, you have 8 different like panels of colorization to customize the skin to your liking. So the 8th panel, for example, I can change the leggings to black, and then I can come over here to 7. And if I want to, I like red color palettes. I like red, white, and black. So I can click red, right? And we can go over to 6, click red again, and then look at the final one, boom. And now we've got a red and black dress with the white hair, which, like, again, this is my kind of style and what I prefer, but you can get to cooking with all kind of different color palettes, and the customization for 8 different panels is absolutely insane. This is such a cool idea. I would like to reinforce this once again, because you're getting, like, for one skin, you can turn it into 18 different chroma skins. Like, that's such a banger idea. Mwah, chef's kiss. In terms of map traversing, it's still pretty much the same thing. You don't consume any stamina when you climb up like a building of any sort. But like if I wanted to come up here, none of this will consume any stamina at all, right? But the other thing is, it's like, bro, this is one of the most crazy things to me. It's how well you get across the map, bro. So like, I can do my helix jump, right? We can dodge, plunge. That is the craziest thing to me, man. It's like the freaking map. Look at this dude. Oh my God. Bro, that is so crazy, man. But other than that, it's like, it's much more seamless. It feels a lot smoother, right? So, you know, they have the integral to where if you look up, you jump up, do your helix jump, right? But if you don't look up, then you just do a regular jump. And you have double jump, then you have your slide, and then you have your dash, right? The dash is really cool. And finally, devs listened. I'm dashing with the side clicker on my mouse. You couldn't even change it to that in the previous beta. I literally told them, allow me to change and dash with my side clicker, because I didn't like the other option. So now I can use control to slide, but I can hit the side button on my mouse to dash. Nuclear W. But yeah, man, that's pretty much all the monumental changes that I wanted to go over. I still want to play some more during the beta with my chat, and that's what I plan to do. But I hope you guys got all the information you came for. This game is looking like the devs are putting their heart and soul in it before they release it. This is now like the 3rd time they've made massive changes, and I think they're still cooking even further. And that's going to wrap up today's content. I'd like to give a huge shout out to the Duet Night Abyss team once again for sponsoring this video and enabling me to bring it to your awareness. If you like what you saw, don't forget to pre-register now by clicking the link down below in the description box or the pinned comment in the comment section. These guys have been hard at work, and their dedication is showing through their craft, which is a nice thing to see. But yeah, peace, love, and happiness, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.